When was the last time you purchased something and you weren't asked for a tip? Yeah, I can't remember either.
Tipping culture has gotten out of control. I get up to the pay window and she's like, how much do you want to tip? What am I gonna tip you for? I'm in the drive-thru. Oh my God.
Tips have been on the rise for decades. During the 1950s, people commonly tipped 10% of the bill. By the 1970s and 1980s,
That was true. That was true. Chat, let me explain. Okay? There's actual good tiers of service you can get when you go to a restaurant. There legitimately is. Okay? There is. People that care and do their job properly, okay? It does matter. And difference is pretty massive. Okay? If you do always like a blank statement of I never tip, it's really shit. Because those people, the whole culture and industry fucked them over because of a bunch of factors. And now their employers pay them less because there's this thing that people are gonna tip. That sucks, okay? Because in most places that are like that, like restaurants, right? They're making like $4 an hour. It's not your problem, but unfortunately you're part of the system. You're part in society. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. I don't think the tip culture is out of control. Most things that have tips shouldn't have tip, but at least for like restaurant stuff and like service industry people, yeah, like blame the employers, not the customers. Blaming the employers is good and all, but punishing the worker is stupid. This is how it is.
In the 80s, that jumped to 15%. Today, people tip anywhere from 15 to 25%. According to one 2022 survey, consumers said they tipped more than 21% on average.
Nowadays,
Nope.
there are people who argue 20% is kind of a cheap tip.
While the percentage
No.
that consumers are tipping at full-service restaurants in the past couple of years has remained about the same, in the fourth quarter of 2022, the number of tips provided at full-service restaurants grew 17%. Meanwhile, the tip frequency at quick-service restaurants
These stats can suck my balls, okay? People tip on average probably like 17% because everybody does 15 and only a few people do a little bit above 15, probably by accident a lot of times, and because people round up their fucking, people round the amount, not do the math on it. I'd say the average 17. Fuck these stats, these didn't suck my balls. The average is not 21, I don't believe it.
such as coffee shops and fast food chains rose 16% during the same time.
Because they are surveys. These are surveys. They're self-reported amount that people say they tip. Of course, they're gonna be more charitable to look better to how they're taking a survey. And self-entitled cucklords. It's just how it is.
What we're seeing now nationwide is something that is known as Tipflation. At every opportunity, we're being presented with a tablet that's asking us how much we'd like to tip.
In many cases, not only replacing the old-fashioned tip jars that you could feel good about throwing some spare change into, but actually suggesting tip amounts, often right in front of the employee receiving that tip. Not to mention also your dinner date
That's
and
cancer.
a dozen or so people standing behind you in line.
And it's gone beyond just the tablet.
That's straight
The other
cancer.
day I was using the Hopper app to book a hotel, and it wasn't until I confirmed my payment that I realized my hotel was $10 more expensive. It turns out Hopper assumed I wanted to add a tip, and I had to go back to a prior page in order to opt out.
Tipflation refers to not just that we're tipping more, but we're tipping everyone for everything.
Yeah, true. Actually true.
Tipping.
Oh, you know what, chat? I actually agree with that. That's the best
not
fucking.
technically a service. It's someone simply doing their job. In those situations,
Guys, if you're at a restaurant, okay, basically, how many times the person's gonna come back to your fucking table? If they're how many times they're gonna refill your drink or ask if you're okay with your meal, if you want more things. Just the whole experience matters a lot. It's a lot of effort, and they could just do fucking nothing. They could you say it's their job. They could literally do absolutely nothing. Just come once and then come back later, right? And that increase, you benefit from it and you enjoy it. Believe it or not, it partakes of the experience. That's just how it is.
consumers are feeling
That's
resentful.
just how it is.
Where do you draw the line?
Is their job, guys, you should, since I'm kind of an asshole, like some of you guys, so Sometimes you know what I do? I go to McDonald's like this. I go to a nice restaurant. And I go like this, and I go position on the ground, and I spit on the ground. You know why? Because there's a janitor. It's his fucking job, bro. Fuck that guy. Guys, it's his job, fucking bitch ass. They pay a guy to wash the fucking ground, yo. I throw that shit on the ground and I spit. Cause fuck it, dog. It's their job. Like you said it. You guys are saying it. Oh, it's their job, then fuck it. That's just dumb as fuck, huh? Yeah, I spit on the ground because fuck it. I don't care.
TIP stands for to ensure promptness. Tipping may go back as far as the Roman era, but according to most experts, the practice likely has its origins in medieval Europe.
Noblemen taking
Oh wait, we've seen it before. I'll watch it again.
would throw coins to the rubble to ensure safe passage. One theory is that it evolved in eating and drinking establishments as a way to forestall envy. That when you're eating and drinking, you're having fun, and the people who are serving you are not.
Fast forward to the 19th century, when waiters who received a full wage went on strike demanding higher wages, they were replaced with women who employers could pay less. A decade later,
Guys, same names as casino dealers, right? If they're having a good time, they're explaining the game to you and shit like that. They don't have to. If you're having a good time, people tip. It is what it is. It's fun.
there was the
Who cares?
population of newly freed slaves. The idea from these restaurant owners was that they were giving the luxury or privilege of a white person's tips. That was without a full wage.
Ironically, as tipping exploded in the United States, it became less common in Europe and was replaced with service charges.
While the first federal minimum wage law was passed in 1938, it wasn't until almost 3 decades later when the tip minimum wage was established. In 1991, the federal minimum wage for tipped employees was set at $2.13, which is what it remains at as of March
No, Jam.
2023.
Guys, EU kind of took it off because everybody became broke. I think it's not EU is chat. Is that EU is in that instance poor. It is what it is.
As
Anyway,
far as I know,
continuing
the
the video.
United States is the only country that
I'm just very
exempts
relaxed.
tipped workers from having to receive the full minimum wage.
In 43 states, it is legal to pay tipped workers less than the standard minimum wage, because tips presumably make up that difference.
It's crazy that they see something good for the workers, and of course Americans think, wait a minute, dude. Where's my share of that cool things that people are doing for other people, and they're making money out of it? And then they create a problem for a solution that now needs a new solution that creates another layer of problems. Holy fuck, I did. That's just American, dude. Fuck yeah, dude. I love that.
In recent years, you might have found yourself asking, do I tip this barista for pouring that hot coffee?
Absolutely
what about when
not.
I'm going to a restaurant and
Fuck
picking
no.
up takeout?
Fuck
And how
'em.
much do I tip that doorman, driver, or dog walker?
I spit on him.
When those in the service industry were feeling the brunt during the coronavirus pandemic, consumers started tipping for things they never had before. And the percentage of remote transactions when tipping was an option in which the consumer tipped soared from about 46% before the pandemic
Jesus
to
Christ.
around 86% in January 2022. If people were willing to tip the person delivering food to their home 30%, why not ask if they'd like to tip when they come pick up?
During the pandemic, businesses who lost
You know, chat, is I tip a lot my Uber guys, cause the weather sometimes sucks. The fucking there's stairs, there's instructions for shit. I want to put it there, put it there. Yeah, it's their job. Their job is to deliver the food. They could literally put it on the fucking pavement out front, and technically they delivered. On paper, they did their job. Their job is to get the food there, right? They could literally put it backwards on the ground, on the bottom of your pavement, and say, "Well, it's delivered. They did their job." I just tip because overall, I'm happy with the effort that they take to go the extra mile, and I think that matters. And they can.
a lot of traditional customers and transactions.
I'm rich, yes, and I always made it I was very adamant. I've always paid tip, even when I was fucking broke. And you wanna know what? I didn't go out when I was broke because I couldn't afford it. End of story. And even when I could a little bit afford it, right? I still tip the amount because that's what it costs. That's the cost. Unfortunately, some of you guys are not American and maybe you're stupid. Unfortunately, it really sucks that it's like this. But the way it works mostly in America is that if you can't afford whatever you get at a restaurant, your thing plus 15%, you just can't afford it. That's just how it is. It's intended in society, in our culture, that 15% is added on. It is preemptive. That's just what it is. Here's the question mark is stupid. Everybody knows this. Okay? It sucks, but that's how it is. It's just how it is.
We're looking for alternative ways to make up that income. And if asking for tips was one way to do it, they were willing to try it.
Bro, I did 200%.
Since then, that
Wanna know
ask
why?
hasn't dissipated.
Because my job is easy, I'm overpaid, and I'm rich as fuck. I don't give a fuck. Holy shit.
Another
That's gonna
reason
be different,
consumers
though.
say they
That's
feel
gonna be
pressured
different.
to tip more. They're
That
being
is
asked to tip
completely different.
prior to service completion.
Asking for a tip beforehand is almost like a bribe, right? I'm afraid not to tip because, well, you do less good work.
Customers might not be concerned about the barista's perception of their tip before getting their latte, but what about the mechanic repairing your car? I don't know about you, but I'm certainly going to make sure to tip them well to ensure my safety.
These jobs are fucking straight point A to point B. There's no way to do more or whatever. Whether you put a fucking cogwheel in or out, the cogwheel is in or out. You can't fucking kiss it, fucking rub it. Dude, I just fucking licked your knob, dude. What the fuck? Like, what?
Another reason consumers are tipping more, newer technologies. Kiosks and tablets with 3 large tipping suggestions that pop up on the screen in front of you. 3 options.
I'm not
chosen
baiting
by
you.
the business.
Oh my god, this sounds so
I
dumb.
have not yet been to the restaurant where they recommend 5, 10, or 15% for quick takeout. It normally always starts
15, 20.
at 15 as a bare minimum, sometimes even starting at 20, 25, and up to 30.
According to a 2022 creditcards.com survey, 22% of respondents said when they're presented with various suggested tip amounts, they feel pressured to tip more than they normally would.
They use those options as an indication of kind of
Bro.
what the normative range is.
$4, you click $2, it seems like an right? That's 50%, dude. For the buster who clicked on a machine fucking schnob, dude. That's insane. They didn't do shit. The fucking Bratista, whatever the fuck, at the machine, he just hit the baton. He didn't do nothing, dude. What?
And feel compelled to tip
Like,
within that range.
what?
So the more you ask, the more you get.
The 3 prominent companies with that trendy, sleek look are Square, Toast, and
Guys, I tip my landlord.
They launched a bit more than a decade ago to help businesses run smarter,
Just kidding.
faster, and easier, all in one point of sale or POS systems. In some cases, fewer fees so it's less of a burden to accept multiple credit cards, no long-term contracts, and multiple other useful tools including inventory and employee management.
They got credit card processing into the hands of individuals and very small merchants. Square did a great job. It's been a tremendous growth story. That's half of the business today.
I tipped my girlfriend an extra car.
Do you think these companies are responsible for this turn of events that we've seen with tipping?
I would say they could take some of the credit for helping restaurants gather more tips.
Robert Sanchez manages Eli's Essentials in New York City. One of the business's locations uses Toast, while the other uses this. He says the storefront that uses Toast sees more and higher tips.
The Clover, Square, and Toast terminals to a consumer are very easy to use. Big buttons, big areas to sign the tip, an easy way to tip a different amount if you don't like the starting at 20% option. There are others that do it, they're just not as cool looking.
I tipped
We've
the
come a
IRS.
long way from being able to just throw your spare change into the jar by the cash register.
The new tablets have turned what used to be a sin of omission, I simply didn't put money into the tip jar, into a sin of commission. I have to hit a button and say no tip. I have to actively choose not to tip. Whereas before,
You know what?
not tipping was a kind of a passive thing.
Glancing at the tip
The tip jar was fine. I generally think that if you let the tip jar there in a culture state that people are underpaid and they split the tip jar, they would more than easily go to the cutoff of what they should have been paid for that day, right? And that was all fine, right? But now it's like, dude, tell me I did a bad job by clicking on the button right there. Did I do a good job? Yeah, click it. Right there. Right there. Is it gonna be a tip or no tip? Right there. Look at it right now. Like, dude, holy shit, chill out, man.
Tip jar could have
But it's
also
like that,
been a
though.
way to get a sense of how many others are tipping on that service and maybe even how much money. Meanwhile, not only can the tipping options be customized, but the tipping feature can be disabled as well. So it's the merchant's choice to ask or not to ask for tips.
From the business side, it makes employees want to perform better and do a better job.
It's seriously significant. It really pays for the software.
Yo, bruh. Do a better job. Listen, my brother. Okay? If you're sitting in the kitchen like that at the restaurant, there are no better job. They advertise and sell a product. You make said product and you put it on the table. There's no better way to do it. It is a streamlined process of A to B with absolutely no increments of difference. There's none, zero. I don't want to hear it. You guys are being dumb as fuck. There's zero things that can be different. You think?
It's seriously significant. It really pays for the software. You'd be a foolish business owner not to install it based on what the numbers display. Even a mammoth company as large as Starbucks has decided that they need to sink or swim, and the best way for them to do that is...
How am I bidding it?
Starbucks rolled out the tipping feature in stores in September
Guys,
2022.
well, I'm not contradicting myself. I'm just saying that overall, these don't apply for tip. I said only the restaurants with a lot of service and personalize their customers, yo. Dude, chat. If I go to a place I really fucking like all the time, and this guy does a really fucking good job, and I really like it, okay, and I want to reward him for taking care of me all the fucking time, and saying, yo, what's up? That matters to me. I want to give him money to this guy and his service, not to the fucking bullshit fucking owner, cucklord fuck, that's underpaying his employee, dude. End of story. That's it.
It's one thing
Not
to
these
have happy
bastards.
staff. It's another thing to have customers that are feeling resentful. I
Guys,
think it's a calculus
guys.
that all businesses...
Hey, chat said lol. Chat, did you lol? I did a fucking good job, chat. Alright, chat. Okay, that's 10 bits, bitch-ass. 10 bits right the fuck now. 10 bits now. 10 or 100 bits right the fuck now. Donate now. I'm fucking mauling, dude. I did a good job, dude. I did better than usual. And it's fun to lol. Give me money.
Businesses really need to
No.
make...
Okay, then I'm done.
Do you think that they're somewhat going to start seeing that they're getting lower tips because people are paying tips to so many services,
I'm ending
or
stream.
they're resentful of the act of tipping in general?
I think that's a very real danger of servers in a sit-down restaurant. They were greatly affected
Thank you.
during and
Thank you, man. Oh my god. Sleep. 200 bits. Oh, you think so? 200 bits, man. Oh, man. Thank you, man. Take this, brother.
immediately post-pandemic by restaurants doing all
Oh,
sorts
Sir,
of
Ant,
fees.
Edge,
Their tips
Zfine,
were actually
Atmos,
going
yeah.
down because
Yeah,
consumers
yeah.
were saying, well, if I'm paying
Ooh.
for the health insurance and I'm paying for inflation and I'm paying for
Hold
this
on.
and I'm paying for that, enough is enough. The more you
Minus
levy
25.
these
Hold on.
items onto consumers, guess who's being penalized? It's the one area that's still quasi-discretionary, which is the tip.
I went door to door talking with waitresses, bartenders, and baristas, and while they wanted to
having
remain
a great
anonymous, they
time.
told me it's
What a
happening
wonderful-
already. With inflation and being prompted for tips left and right, they say customers have already started to tip less and sometimes not at all.
Blame the institution. Blame the government. Blame the fucking old busters. Blame the fucking business owners. Blame the morons. Stop blaming the fucking... Stop taking it on the employees, dude.
A 2022 study found that 17% of Americans are tipping less because of inflation.
Chat.
However, 10%
Last pause.
report
I
tipping
promise last
more
pause.
at the same.
Because I'm not fucking kidding, okay? I promise this. I own everything. I'm in LA at one of my favorite restaurants, okay? And I see a check, and then it's like, and then there's tax, then there's tip, there's a recommended tip, and under there's a pre-added on 15% for employees' health care. What? What the fuck is that? And you cannot take it off. It's literally in the price. It's in ink on the fucking check, dude. That's crazy.
more than half of Americans, or 60%, want to do away with tipping entirely. The extent of pandemic-influenced generosity has also gone down. 43% of consumers typically tipped servers 20% or more in 2022, compared to 56% of consumers in 2021. Meanwhile, the average tip for full-service restaurants has gone down only slightly during the same time period. According to Toast, 19.6% in the fourth quarter of 2022, compared to 19.8% in 2021.
Yeah, that's
However,
fine.
according to surveys conducted in those same years, respondents said they're tipping higher percentages, 21.2% and 18.9% respectively.
It can genuinely hurt the people who truly
Yo, this is up to the government to just say, listen man, your shit is fucked, and instead of doing a billion little fix, they just fix it instantly by just making it, you pay your employee the fair wage for their service. If you want to tip, they can tip, but now people are now fully paid across the board, and there's no more social pressure for people. That's it. End of story. Deadass, just fuck everybody at the same time. Fuck the business owners. Fuck the people who own restaurants. Fuck all of them. Flat out.
truly rely on gratuities for their livelihood. I firmly believe that the tipping invasion we're experiencing right now, I think it's a net negative for society.
And with that tablet at just about every counter, no matter where you go, the question is, where's the tipping point? I'm wondering how long before I'm tipping my doctor after.
I was in EU, okay? I was in UK, and I got breakfast, right? With my manager, and I was eating at some Indian place, okay? And I got this little fucking coffee bullshit, Indian coffee bullshit. And the guy was really nice the whole way. It was really chill. Came in budget times, best service of my life, right? And I was like, oh, I'm gonna tip my crazy amounts, right? And I'm like, yo, dude, gives me the check. I can't even tip. They didn't even allow me to tip. I wasn't allowed to. There was no way to do it. And the guy did a massive service. I was like, okay, no, dude, that's how it should be everywhere.
After an annual physical.
When correct, at that
If you
restaurant, I
want to
couldn't.
seem especially generous after an exceptional meal,
I don't give a cash. What do they look like?
30%.
Peasant?
But it's a cycle. As more people seeking to make a good impression then up their tips to 30%.
Bro thinks that goes around with the fucking pockets full of coins. Clink. Like Jesus Christ, dude.
Maybe
What the
even
fuck?
35%? What becomes a generous tip?
I have to believe tips are going to go up from where they are today. But I also think there's got to be a logical ceiling somewhere.
Coin
don't know
pouch
where it
handy.
is.
Oh my god. What? What is the Chicago fee? Yes, what is the Chicago fee? Is that because on average the streets are dangerous and if you have okay, I'm done.